Nerd caps on, can of Monster in hand. Blizzcon, it's coming in a few days, man. So we better let's chill. Let's kick back, put down all the nerdy stuff, and let's just talk about what we expect to happen here. BlizzCon week is always really exciting because we know we're very, very close to hopefully a very cool cinematic. Not like the last one. I don't want to see at this BlizzCon. I don't want to see anything cute, cuddly, waving a little bamboo stick around and fighting pirates. I don't want to see that this time, okay? So, please, after the StarCraft 2 Heart of Swarm trailer, the new Diablo 3 trailer, please give us something really good for the new expansion. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the biggest things I get excited for BlizzCon, especially when a new WoW expansion's coming. I just want to see something really cool. I love this game. Make it look cool because you do the best cutscenes in the business. That's all we want. That's all we want. So, what we can do is we can do some guessing. And it's a good thing about making predictions. A lot of people love making predictions, and I don't blame them. Because making predictions, when they come true, makes us extra smug. And when we're wrong, we're surprised. And that's also cool. So we don't mind being wrong. We don't mind making wild accusations. What I'm going to do is go through a few things I expect to be announced at BlizzCon. Not necessarily stuff that's going to make it. I'm also not really saying these are things I want to see. So we might have a little chit-chat about that. And at the end, we can stick on some extreme stuff that we'd really like to see. So, first and foremost, usual shit. Probably 5 levels. Yeah, give another expansion before we hit 100. I can't imagine them doing more than 5 levels. Level 100 is going to be a big deal. A pretty big deal. There's got to be another expansion after this one. 5 levels is... I mean, you're talking 95 levels. That's off-putting, isn't it? That's off-putting to new players. Could we have a level squish? That's one of the extreme ideas. What if we went back in levels? Would people be pissed at that if they level squished it down to 60? Perhaps remove the zone. We'll get to that soon. But yeah, usual shit. I would expect to see at least a new continent. I can't imagine us sticking around anywhere in Azeroth. It would be nice to see, maybe, we'll get to this later, but it would be nice to see Outland reused in some way. Outland is easily my coolest continent, I think. I can't imagine a continent that is anywhere near as cool as Outland. I absolutely adore the Twisting Nether. I love everything. Shadowmoon Valley is beautiful. Nagrand is beautiful. Terracar, a little bit shitty. Blade's Edge, it's okay. It looks great, especially with flying mounts. It's actually pretty cool. Gotta say, I expect this BlizzCon to be very focused on the Diablo 3 expansion, Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. I think WoW's actually going to take a back seat. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. WoW taking a bit of a backseat. Sort of splurged their load early days. Looking at the schedule, we're going to get the WoW stuff very, very quickly and out of the way, with probably a huge focus on trying to get players back into Diablo. Like, hey guys, we got rid of the auction house, and the expansion's going to make it really good. Who knows, right? Diablo 2, with its expansion, is what it's best known for. A lot of people forget that Diablo 2 wasn't really up to snuff until the big expansion dropped, and then it became super, super awesome. What is the new expansion going to be? Either way, we're getting demons, right? It's gonna be the Burning Legion. It's looking very likely that it's all about the Burning Legion. I'm pretty cool with that, actually. Sargeras, man. It's got to be Sargeras for me. I think this one is going to be very Sargeras prone. The two titles we've had have obviously the Warlords of Draenor and the Dark Below. Either way, both reference pretty much something to do with Outland and something to do with the demons. The both of them go down to that. If you don't know, Draenor is actually Outland. It's the renamed Outland, or what's left of Draenor. Perhaps, I did my WoW wiki stuff, so don't take this as gospel. It's about as far as I go in reading into WoW lore. That Draenor was a planet, or Draenor. You're going to hate me for it, I know. That got smashed to pieces. A lot of the pieces drifted off into nothing, and the biggest chunk that was left over that could actually sustain life became Outland. So we've already been there. So if it is the Warlords of Draenor, it's a time travel thing, or perhaps they're going to say something like, well, yeah, Outland was the thing that most people knew about, but in fact, there's this other piece that kind of survived, and that's still known as Draenor, and we're actually going there. Maybe? Dark Below makes a lot of reference to the Twisting Nether. Either way, it looks like demons, or it could be something completely out of the park. Yeah, I actually want the demons. I want Sargeras, man. This for me, this expansion has got to come in fighting. It's got to come in fighting because MoP wasn't really tailored to the old school fans. What I want to see is kind of like a TBC image over it. I'm not saying I want TBC back before anyone jumps over that. That TBC image of we had just big lore character names stepping out of the shadows. We had Bam Kael'thas, we've got Vash, we've got Illidan. We had all these big names to look forward to. I want to see that come back and then give us a reason to log in. Gotta be surprised how many people played all of TBC purely because they knew they were going to see Kill Jaden or whatnot at the end. And of course, with Wrath of the Lich King, a lot of people stuck around for that expansion because we were going to be fighting Arthas. That big lore name does matter. Gotta be Sergeras in my eyes. But we'll see. We'll see on that one. Features. Let's talk about our features. What we're probably going to get. I think these are like probably the big four. Firstly, 15-man raiding. Yeah, I think this is probably the time they're going to announce this. Is the dropping of 25-man and the dropping of 10-man and just converging them into 15-man. Gonna put a preface on that, a preface for you. Not something I want. By any means, but Blizz has hinted at this for so long, right? They have hinted at this for a really long time, that they want 15-man raiding. They want a standardized raid setup. It's easier to code, it's easier to balance, it's a lot easier to do a lot of stuff with from their side. They think they can make it more fair. 15-man, maybe this is the time they're going to announce it. They've hinted at it so much that they want 15-man raiding. They consider that to be the ideal in terms of design and playability. It's easy to farm a 15-man raid in an MMO, and it's also easy to actually create content for 15-man raids. Not something I want, but I kind of think this is where we're going to see it. I think it's going to be one of the big things when the screen comes up. They're going to have a big thing. It's like 15-man raiding. And that gives us plenty of time to get through Siege of Ogmar for the 25-mans to break up. Let's face facts, there aren't that many 25-mans left. I've made a conscious effort and promoted 25-man raiding so much throughout Mists of Pandaria, caused many guilds to be farmed. I think this might be the death nail, and the 10-mans can obviously then start recruiting and merging and doing whatnot to try and farm 15-mans. They like to give us plenty of time. When they went from 40 to 25, they gave us a good few months there to actually get ready for it. So if they are going to announce 15-man raiding, it's likely to be now, nice and early. Let guilds prepare, start picking people, and of course, everybody rejoicing at kicking the slackers they feel they have in their 15-man raiding. So that's my first thing I'm pretty sure they're going to announce. The next one, dropping of a profession, maybe two. This has to happen. Something's got to happen. Now, the likely candidates for me are dual crafting and maybe inscription, or getting the axe. I kind of see something happening with them. Maybe they're not being dropped completely, but reworked in some fashion. Seen a lot of hints pointing towards getting a new item is actually a massive pain in the ass, and it's also super expensive to actually wear an item, and therefore getting an upgrade for a lot of people is really not as exciting as it should be, especially for the vast majority of people who are rocking in LFR and normal mode. They get maybe a new pair of legs, it's the same item level, but it's got slightly better secondary stats, and then you've got to consider, maybe you've got to slap 2,000 gold on this son of a bitch to make it worth wearing. Then you've got to go ahead and sort of reforge all your gear around it. Getting a new item is lacking a little bit of excitement because that item is no good until you do all this stuff, until you slap your jewels in it, till you reforge it, and then you're going to slap an enchant on it, and then you're going to reforge all your gear around it. Yeah, getting a new item is just expensive. Getting upgrades is an expensive job, man. You need to actually be doing your dailies in order just to wear your gear to its maximum capacity. And what we tend to see is a lot of people just skipping that stuff. It's already bad enough to see people wearing really nice gear, maybe the top level LFR gear, but there's no gems in it, there's no enchants and all that kind of stuff. Why? It's really expensive. So I would expect to see them reworked in some fashion. I mentioned inscription because glyphs really aren't working out in the new talent system. They're sort of a tack on to the new talent system that doesn't really need to be there. Maybe if it was made pure to fun, especially considering how many classes just don't have good glyphs, right? And they can't find 3 out of a possible 25 to bother putting into their character. So that profession needs a little bit of love, or perhaps it just needs to be removed entirely. I would expect that to happen. Can't really see any new races or classes. Having said that, I don't think they will. Maybe the Demon Hunter could get a look in. Maybe. The only reason I say there's possibility for a new class is that the classes are very, very balanced right now. As such, they don't need a lot of work. So when we go into a new expansion, it tends to be a thing that a lot of classes need a lot of work doing. If we look at the transition from vanilla to TBC, nearly enough every class needed 2 specs rebalancing and bringing up to par. And then when we had TBC to Wrath, the specs got huge overhauls. And then we had the new race coming in terms of the DK that needed all balancing out, but the old classes weren't balanced. So we had a whole expansion there of rebalancing. Kata, kind of the same. And in Mists of Pandaria, we obviously had that patch. I believe it was 4.2, which was the huge balancing patch, which actually worked out. Huge success to Blizzard on that part, and when we look at the damage meters now, a lot of people doing really well. Every class is represented in some fashion, only really minor inconveniences coming out of Mists of Pandaria. So if they are, this is actually a great time, because right now the classes are working. The system is working, it needs minor tweaks here and there, but it's a good time to actually introduce a new class, and they could probably spend a lot of time rebalancing it, considering the current stuff is actually in a very balanced place, and a great starting point, okay? So, maybe... always opening out for the Demon Hunter in a demon-themed expansion. Should be that what we get. The last thing I think is got to be on the cards is the item level squish. It's almost pretty much confirmed, right, that we're getting the item level squish. They're talking about it pretty regularly now. Got to get the item level squish in there. What are they going to squish it to, though? That's the actual question. Not that the item level squish is coming. What are they going to squish it to? Got to be having a feeling that they're going back towards TBC levels of DPS, yeah? Where end of this expansion, we're starting looking at people doing 4 to 5k DPS. When it's in the thousands, the early thousands, it's actually really nice to see a solid comparison. If we went back to the vanilla where people were in the hundreds of DPS, I think that would be far too low. You can't really go from 1 million plus DPS, which some people are capable of pulling off now, and sustaining sort of 3 to 400k DPS, all the way down to 3 to 400 DPS. I think the numbers would just look too shitty for something that's actually got 95 levels to get through to get there. TBC levels, yeah, I can kind of see that working. Even Wrath of the Lich King style levels, where we'll be looking at people going up towards 10k in expansion and working around there. But that might not buy them enough leeway. I would kind of expect to see TBC levels of DPS returning, starting to see people in the 3 or 4Ks. That way that the stats are actually solid numbers that we can compare. We can compare 50 stam to 60 stam, right? When it starts getting into the thousands of stamina we see now, you're actually looking at just ridiculously long numbers that don't make any goddamn sense. Those are my main predictions that I'm going to see. Maybe you could throw some thoughts on that. Extreme stuff. Return to 40-man raiding. That would be ace, wouldn't it? That would be ace. We get some extremes and stuff like that. Adding a 4th talent spec. Triples. Tri-spec. Would be nice. Tri-spec would be really nice to see that. These are all like wish list things that I would love to see personally, especially somebody who plays like every single spec in the game. I can't tell you how annoying dual spec is for me. It's truly, absolutely very annoying. Tri-spec would be fantastic for me. A return to just giant raids. I'd love to see LFR only. If it was just LFR going 40-man, just to cram everybody in there and have a great old time. Make life a little bit easier. I would love to see more 40-man raiding. I think there was a wake-up call with Undasta. Yeah? There was a total wake-up call with Undasta. Undasta proved that, you know what? It doesn't matter if the server's lagging. It doesn't matter if I can't cash shit. It doesn't matter if I keep respawning dead. There's 200-odd gangsters around me. It's just an epic time. And the amount of videos I've seen on YouTube of people just lying on the floor dead, but just filming how many people are there. That epic feeling is good. It is a box seller. It's a game seller. If you're going back to that, I would love to see 40-man raiding make a return. Probably not. That is another wish list type thing. But what are your wish lists? Let's nerd out for a week. I'm going to slap this one on the front of the channel for the new subscribers. Have fun with it, guys. I'll see you later, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.